Hi, everyone. As I was reading and preparing these questions, these are the answers that I developed based on the questions that were given. How do you see yourself contributing to the growth of counseling field? I have such a strong desire to work with adolescents and their systems and families. And one thing that the textbook talked about as the future of counseling is really dealing with adolescents as they experience anxiety. And I think one future parameter we have to consider is um, the growth in the growth of the counseling field will be the connection of COVID-19 and the effects that it has on adolescent and family anxiety. In an article I found by a group of authors in 2020 called Anxiety in Older Adolescents at the Time of COVID-19, they've already begun to study and research the emotional needs for adolescents, specifically older adolescents, during a pandemic, and how even now, before the pandemic has been declared over or however pandemics end, they are finding now that adolescents are experiencing high levels of anxiety due to emotional deficits. And as our textbook showed, the growing number of children and adolescents with anxiety and research, even in this one article that I showed you, shows due to world events, these numbers of children and adolescents experiencing anxiety are likely to grow and exponentially grow. The next question was, what has been the most meaningful activity for you this term? There were a couple. The wellness surveys and corresponding paper to identify personal areas for growth with action plans, I found that extremely helpful. And then the discussion boards as a mean to hear and apply a variety of perspectives, which is essential to that idea of competence and multicultural competence in hearing those different perspectives, which is essential to growing as a counselor. And then how are you personally different because of this course? There were a few different things that I'm taking away. It reaffirms my importance of systems theory. In an interview with Robert Rocco Catone in 2020, um, he pointed towards the idea that our personal experiences shape who we are. So therefore, our systems help shape who we are in the current, which goes along with what we read about in the textbook. For some of those are healthy systems that points towards healthy integration into society. For those with unhealthy systems and or trauma, those experiences create a different narrative. These systems are social in nature, meaning these systems can be family or who we perceive to be family, friends, peers, coworkers, etc. For me, the textbook plus our learning in class plus this article really reaffirms my understanding that people are not disconnected islands, but deeply connected people, and really pushing towards finding a healthy person is to dive in and study their systems that surround them. And then I really do desire, and I like this term, licensed professional counselor with a biblical worldview. In Galatians 2:20, it says, I've been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. And the life I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself for me. And what this really shows to me is that as I'm pursuing being a licensed professional counselor, this with a biblical worldview means I am serving people because of my love for God. Out of my love for God, it it gives me the ability to love others. And then um, the last one was just the importance to view people from a strengths-based model and a growth mindset. Growth mindset was a big trend in the educational world in the past 5 to 10 years, um, really incorporating that growth mindset into the classroom based on the book by Carol S. Dweck, Mindset, The New Psychology of Success in 2006. And I can really see how this growth mindset aligns with the strengths-based model. This reaffirms and pushes me to see people not for their flaws, but for their strengths. And I hope that's how people see me, for who they are and the image of God that they bear. So those are things that really shaped and I'm taking away from this course, and I'm changed by that. So thank you guys. Best of luck in your studies in the future.